all around us. Jamie is the host of a podcast called Psychic Evolution, an author of Psychic Evolution training cards, and author of the children's book, yes, the children's book, The Adventures of Rocco, should I say, and Tuki, the kids from Mars. I've read the book. Trust me, you have to get a copy. Go to jamieclark.net and get a copy. As a spiritual teacher, Jamie shares how to integrate the natural psychic senses with the empowerment of spiritual knowledge to help create a more fulfilling life of love, happiness, and success. But wait, there is another host on the same show. That co-host is Maggie Clark. Maggie Clark is the co-host of the new podcast, Psychic Evolution, with Jamie Clark. And she's also the author, should I say, spiritual coach, healing arts practitioner. Maggie Clark is a respected tarotist with 25 years of experience for the last 14 years. Maggie has instructed people in ways of tarot, both in colleges and privately. Her newest development is her online tarot learning program. She is also an accomplished teacher. Maggie delights in teaching classes, workshops, and offering tarot readings and consultations. But you know what? She's also an author. Yes. She has this awesome book called 365 Days of Tarot. Can you believe that? A whole year, 365 days of tarot. Awesome. Inspirational tarot for your daily life. She's also a spiritual teacher, spiritual coach, and healing arts practitioner. Her home base is in Phoenix, Arizona. She's also been a tarot student of tarot. But let me tell you, she'll tell you more if you ask her, or you go to jamieclark.net to find out more. But let me tell you something that kind of opens up so many hearts. I mean, you have no idea how many hearts that this actually opened up. And when I read this on one of the reports that I do during the week, Maggie opened her healing arts practice in 2011. That's true. Using Jim Sin Jitsu and remote healing, she has continued to add to her healing modalities for humans and animals with Jin Shin Jitsu for your animal companion. There are many names to the different things that she can teach you about your animal and help you with your animal. Maggie has a love for animals, especially dogs, and she is a graduate of the Lang Institute for Canine Massage, which is the only state-approved training program that offers veterinary medical massage. There are so many things, should I say, that round out these two. They are the dynamic duo. And let's bring them on. Jamie and Maggie Clark. Oh yeah, they're here with us. What? I'll tell you something. This is what you do. You can dial on the phone. 609-663-0153. And by the way, thank you very much, Germany. I'm glad you're listening. Yeah, I just got a message in that we've got two people that sent me a message from Germany and that they're listening. The only bad part about it is I have to translate part of what they're saying because
wow.
it comes in German.
Do you know how? I didn't know you knew German.
I am German, 100%.
Yeah, okay.
And don't mess around with me.
Yeah.
But no, no, it was let me see, Berlin, Hamburg, and Berlin
Cool.
is where I'm from, and that's where these people are from.
Beautiful.
Nice.
What a
And as a
small
matter of
world.
fact, my last name, if you guys know my real last name, and if you see that, if you go into Hamburg, and that to like some of the old cemeteries and things, I'm like Smith.
Nice.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah. So I mean, I definitely I was there and I looked and I went, oh my God, what's going on here? And it was like there was a lot of Roberts, you know.
Sure, of course.
It must be a very strong German thing, and Frank.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the other one was there was something else that was, and that's German and Italian anyway. So
And so have you been back to Germany? Have you been
yeah,
back home?
we had to go through, yeah, on a tour.
Beautiful. Very cool.
It was brief, you know. I mean, it was just through, and the guy says that, well, I had a very crazy bass player, and that he was my best friend and a sincere friend. You know, one of those ones that like you're so close to it isn't funny. And we used to sing together. I was the lead singer, but I mean, him and he used to back me up in a lot of stuff. I'm telling you, some of the stuff that we did, it was out of this world. I mean,
Very cool.
nobody that I'm listening to right now on the radio is even coming close. Because the stuff right now, when they do this on TV or on radio or on a recording, everything is digital. Digital this, digital that. We were
Yeah.
we were back in analog when you could not go back and unscrew your mistakes and everything else. So we used to read, you know, or learn things till we could go to sleep, wake up the next morning, and sing together, you know, having breakfast and know everything just like that, you know.
Nice.
Like today, and that if you do something in digital, you go back and say, "Go ahead, say that again." We'll just boop, you know. They take out like 1 second
Yeah.
and change something or change a word, one word. They can take out and put in another one. So yeah, we never did that stuff. So we were pretty good. And in school, we went to
Yeah.
school. I mean, it was we were in the choruses and everything else. I was in band. I went to school for music.
Nice. So you've
Mother,
been a musician your whole life, pretty much.
my mother was a singer. Oh yeah,
Beautiful.
we've got guitars and everything else all around here. In fact, behind this wall.
Now,
There's,
does she enjoy playing at all? Does she?
oh, mm-mm. No, give her a computer. She's tickling the keys all the time.
Perfect. Right. Mm-hmm.
But it's not a piano.
Yeah.
I do
Close
have
enough.
I do have a portable piano back here too.
Excellent. Wow. Now, do you ever want to get back into the singing? Like, have you guys?
My lead guitar player, who's now in California, that he does a lot of stuff in that in movies and everything else. He's a guitar player that he could literally sound and play like anybody.
Nice.
Like you put the needle on the record. That's the way he was. I mean, his you want to talk about a soul that is totally involved in what he does. I mean, this man was in it 100%. His father was a doctor too. It was really funny. His doctor, his doctor father. You know, you ever see vitamins in little packages?
Sure.
Okay. Well, his father used to. We got to get a physical before we went anywhere or on a tour or whatever, and he would he would through blood tests and everything else that give us like cans. I mean cans of like maybe a couple of hundred of these little packets. And each one of those things, the stuff that was in it, the vitamins that were in each one of the packets were made for our body
Oh, wow.
and what we did
Nice.
and singing and everything. I mean, you're figuring that if I went on stage and that being a lead singer, you'd be lead singing for like 3 hours.
Wow.
And sometimes that, depending upon where we were, it was 5 days straight.
Dang.
So when people saw coffee on my amp that was behind me, like everybody else, you know, you see beer, you know, what's his bands all the time. They always have beers on there or a drink on there or something like. You guys are in a perfect area for that too.
Yeah.
And you know, they do that all down here in Florida. Forget about it. They don't do that because they're not allowed to do that. But they can put it on the floor though behind the amp. That I found out. But anyway, on my amp all the time, and I had this big mug, and whatever places that we went to, our promoters or whatever that would tell that place in advance that Bob and his partner drinks coffee. So they had to make coffee when we were there. So as long as you were drinking that hot coffee all night, in 5 days, you sounded just like I do right now. And I mean, it was anybody else that would beat up there would be like,
I bet. Yeah.
End of the week. But no, we didn't do that kind of stuff. And you want to talk about where spiritually things started. I met people in churches and things, these old churches and stuff, like the older people and stuff, and they would touch you and say, "Dear, you're a singer, right?" Damn. Yeah, I'm serious. I mean, these people were like that all the time. London, I mean, we have friends over there that have come and slept with us over here,
Beautiful.
on their little tour things and stuff. So yeah, we're kind of the only place I didn't go to was Alaska.
Why?
Too
I don't
cold.
know. That was but you can't say that because we did Greenland.
Yeah.
We did Thule Air Force Base, and that place was, I think it was like 45 degrees below zero
Wow.
when we landed, and it was great. They put this thing on your face, and now when you get off the plane, because you can't breathe that air.
I bet. Wow.
When it's very moisture in the air and everything else, if you breathe it, you can like come out of a warm plane into a cold, air like that,
wow.
and it can freeze the water in your lungs.
That's
Right?
scary.
Yeah, I know. It's like really, really weird.
Wow.
So they had this thing like one of these portable bus things, and they bring it up to the plane, push it up against the plane. You get into that warmer little bus and stuff. Then they go down. Then you go to wherever you're going to be. They back the thing up. You go in the door. So it was weird. Very
Nice. God, that's crazy. I just can't do. I've been such a desert rat. I've been out here in Phoenix 55 years. And anything below 60 degrees, I'm like, it's cold.
What do you feel like? I mean, my daughter is in Pearl River, New York, which is right over the borderline of New Jersey. And the other night it was like 26 there, and I text her, and I said, ha 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 ha. It was funny. Because here, I mean, everybody was saying it was cold. It's 67. 67, I can walk outside in a Guinea t-shirt. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Wow.
I don't, maybe the blood hasn't gone that light. Yeah, I don't know.
Great thing is you've been doing that your whole life. You've been able to sing your way through life, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's New Jersey too. You always have to have the Guinea t-shirt on and a thing.
Hey, and did you guys create albums? Did you do the old school
we have
vinyls?
We had one out.
Excellent.
I have no idea where it is. I don't have a copy of it. As a matter of fact, because we moved with who so many times, like 5 times, something like that, I lost albums. There was a box of albums that was so old and so valuable.
I bet.
The original, and I think the number of the copy was 1031, if I remember correctly. The original first Beatle album, the one that we stood online for like hours to get into the store to buy the thing, and it was in that box. Wow. And I had every single one of the albums the Beatles ever put out.
Oh, wow.
And they were all there. So
man, that's a bummer.
But you never know. It could be tucked away in his house somewhere, and I don't know.
Wouldn't that be great, man? What a nice Benny. Hey, just looking. There they are. Wow.
I'm serious. I mean, it was really, really crazy. And all the Strawberry albums and all that kind of stuff. And I had the original Hendrix album.
Wow.
Before Hendrix was Hendrix.
Right.
When he was right out of the army he was in, I think. So yeah, I mean, I had all that stuff. I was crazy. I was a musician, so I used to buy all that stuff. The stuff that's on the radio right now, I'm sorry. You can take that stuff and flush that in any place you want to. It doesn't make any sense. If you're going to sing about something, sing about what comes from your heart. Don't sing what comes from some writer that rewrote it 5 times.
Yeah. I think that tends to be a big difference is that heartfelt connection to the music that's written. It just seems to be like you were saying, hey, create it and then sing it. There you go. Instead of that connection from the soul.
Mm-hmm. And you can tell the people who are drawn to that kind of stuff. Because I mean, I've been in places a couple of times, Net, and sometimes a song or something just passes through your head, and you'll be humming it or something, or just like that. Looking like a total fool, probably.
You do that at the store, man.
Yeah, I've done worse. And you get a woman that's next to you, and she said, "What song is that?" Because there's something in your brain, something in your body, somewhere that just draws them. It's a music, it's a pull.
Mhm.
Like the other dog, Kit, tonight. Now, when we had Jakey was under my feet all the time. As soon as I was on the radio, he was there. That was it. No, and tonight, the other one came in.
Awesome. Very cool.
So, but he's not here now. He left. But
That's okay. It's a start.
He made the start and had to come in. They are actually like the dog knew who was on when you were on, and Jakey was around. He was here before I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Jamie has a way with animals.
Very cool.
Yeah, he's been with me for a long time.
Yeah. I got
The
away with animals.
crazy animals.
Crazy animals. Yeah, I know about
All good, baby. It's all fun.
that. Well, I figured I'd leave me, but use me instead of you getting in trouble.
Thank you. Take one for the team, baby. Uh-huh.
I did have a question though from somebody. They wanted to know when the next book is coming out.
For Rocco and
Apparently,
Tuki.
it's somebody who got it from you guys.
Awesome. Yeah. As a matter of fact, Mag and I are going to be doing book 3 of Rocco and Tuki, the Kids from Mars, starting in January. Plus, I came across a few other books that my mom and I had written that I forgot about many, many years ago. And so I came across 2 different children's books. One, a children's book that we wrote many years ago, and there's 2 so far, and it's called The Adventures of Elsie, the Little Guardian Angel. It's just great. It's so cool. And then we have another children's book that is about Pocahontas. And I'm like, I completely forgot about those. Holy cow. So it was kind of nice. Just the other day, I came across them looking like, oh, this is brilliant. So it's really nice to kind of bring these to life. And Maggie, working her magic in every way, is able to help bring all of this stuff. She's a great manifester.
And in terms of a release date, we don't have an official release date yet. So what I would recommend everyone do is just sign up for Jamie's newsletter on his website. And as soon as we have a release date, we'll make sure people know. But most likely it's going to be in, the end of spring, early summer, most likely, but we're not committing to a date yet. So,
and it's been great because my mom and I wrote those books 30 something years ago. And so back then, in the old school, you had to have a publishing company and you had to be hooked up. And I'm like, wow. Now, these years later, you're instantly around the world. You've got all of these opportunities and dynamics. So it's really cool to see that once we started bringing it out, coincidentally, and there is no coincidence, around the same time, we've got some of the powers that be go, we may not be alone in the universe. Yep. And so it's kind of nice to send that love and light, that compassion, that humanity, and the ability to connect with ourselves and others with love, with happiness, with fun.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be the scary stuff. So it's really cool. I'm very honored to be working with these projects with Mag and bringing them to life for my mom as well.
That's really, really cool. But that's good though. It's this has got to be done.
Yes.
These things are sitting there. They're calling to us.
Yep. And that's
because I get the same thing. I mean, if I bend over here a little bit. I'm serious. I got a music book down here, Net. It's this thick.
Wow.
It's literally that thick.
Now, is this music that you're writing? Is this
some of it's mine, some of it's other people's.
Cool. Very nice. And what you gonna do with it?
I have no idea. It's probably going to sit down here in the drawer for a while.
God, you sound like, yep, I understand. When the time is right.
I got a guitar sitting right over here. I've been, doing the strings on it for 3 weeks, I think.
Excellent. Very cool.
I've been doing the string. I'll get there. And I have, of course, the weeks in, what's this, Christmas and New Year's. I always take those 2 weeks off.
Good. Very cool. Yes, sir.
I live in a cocoon every year, and do
Yes.
you gotta do that once in a while.
Yes.
I encourage everyone to take the downtime when they can, especially around this time of year, because it's nice to be able to celebrate and relax and not have to be in the normal,
You can
Hustle and bustle.
you can be in your own universe.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You can do what you have to do, and you can do it and be satisfied with what you're doing because you have the time to do it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's the ability, is to take and make the time for you. We all get busy, life just gets going, but a lot of people don't necessarily even take the time off. And so they start going so much that they burn out.
Do you ever get anything like this? I mean, how many times do people actually, are they able to say to themselves, I feel good?
I say it every day.
Well, no, you do.
For us, we do. But it's also
these are people. Normal, like as what's his Diane says, I'm an alien. She goes, other people are not you.
That's for sure.
I-
That's for sure.
It's just the way you become universal. You take energy from all over. You take everything that everybody says. You become worldly in a way because you know so many things that when somebody does start a conversation in something, you can always add to a conversation because you probably already saw it, read it, and logically made a decision on what the answer should be. That doesn't mean that the answer was in what you read.
Well, no, and that's a big thing. And the great thing is I'm always very genuine, going, hey, if it's there, I'll say it. If not, I'm not going to make crap up. But it's in that, right, when you can connect with their soul without judgment. It's like, man, it takes one to know, and I'm sure I've done that in many other lifetimes. And when they can sit and relax into that, and then have someone Joe Schmo, so to speak, like me, that doesn't know anything about them, yet knows things about them, that can bring them to the surface of consciousness without judgment, but empowerment and acknowledgement. I love that, because then they start to realize you're picking up something that I didn't say. I'm like, yeah, but it's strong enough that you're emanating, you're resonating, you're vibrating with it. And when they can start to realize that they are the PowerPoint, that life's not happening to them, it's happening because of them, they start to find that compassion. They start to find that inner self-love and realization. No longer narcissism, self-realization, for we cannot give what we do not have. And most people are afraid to love themselves because you're not taken away from anybody. It's the old perspective of, if that works for you. But the new one is to get people to embrace themselves, to realize that, to me, nobody needs to be fixed. Nobody needs to be saved. Just showing that power within, become more self-realized, to begin to live life more than survive it. And when people can get a glimmer of hope, and the good thing is I'm usually very accurate for people. I'll say something and then it happens. It allows them to be more comfortable to go, well, that other stuff, when I first saw you, I thought it was a bunch of crap. And then it all happened. I'm like, yeah, but now how are we looking? And so they will tend to be more open and receptive to the information and the validations of direction potential, because it's already an established pattern. That's why I always share the fact to go, man, I don't mean to be rude for people, but I don't want to know anything about you prior to a reading. No easy cheesies. It becomes more validating when I'm Joe Schmo and I can just feel things about you and maybe give you some insight that you already knew, but presenting it in a different way to get a different reaction.
And by the way, did have what's his caller, but it fell out. It's not there anymore. But that happened last night now, because we had a bunch of them last night on the show.
Yeah.
And it wasn't their fault. They kept coming on, off, on, off, on.
Interesting. Off. So what do you think? Is it
just
the lines? God. Mag, what about that? It's crazy cool, but there's a lot of validity to that stuff.
Well, and the full moon's in Gemini, so it does. Gemini rules communications of all sorts, so electronics as well. So it will have a little bit more influence during a full moon, potentially. But what it really means is the full moon is a time where we usually let go. But with the Gemini energy, we want to let go of the ways of communication that no longer serve us, the ways that we talk to ourselves, the way that we talk to other people. How we think is really important, because Gemini rules the lower mind. The lower mind is how we process information, how we learn sometimes, but how we process information, how our brains process that. So it takes what we learn, it takes what we hear, what we talk about, and then we mull it over in our brain. And so a full moon in Gemini allows us to feel into our minds in a different way, feel into the areas of Gemini that might be something we want to work through or something we want to let go of. Because usually in the full moon energy, we're letting go of what we no longer need. So I always encourage people with the Gemini full moon is to let go of thought patterns that don't serve you, whatever that looks like. You can just say, you know what, I had a negative thought today. Oh, let that go, and then watch what replaces it. Because the full moon is this time where we can just go, okay, it's as big as the moon is ever going to get. And after that, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So now's a time where everything is full. When you're full is a time to let go so that you make room for something new. So let go of old thought patterns for one. I think that's the best way to utilize the Gemini full moon energy.
I tell you. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, that you're telling me something that I never understood before anyway. But I mean, now I do. But it's funny. Whenever I came into a full moon, now my father he was born in October, and for some reason, every single time there was a full moon, it was a different guy. Almost, he was definitely ruled by the moon.
Yep.
All the time.
Right.
It affects water.
And some people are more sensitive to other two moons, and it really depends on what you have in your astrology profile. And sometimes people are more sensitive during some zodiac signs of full moons because it's playing with their planets of their natal chart. So, maybe making an aspect or something. So, when we know that we're sensitive to the moon cycles, you can work with them in your everyday life. You can work with them through your natal chart, and you can gain a level of recognition and mastery around that too. It just takes a little bit of learning a little bit of astrology to kind of get the hang of it. But it's really easy. It's really fun to follow moon cycles. I did that for a while in my life, but the moon moves really fast though. Every cycle of 28 days, you're going through every cycle of the zodiac. So it's constantly shifting and changing all the time, it's fantastic,
Yeah, but isn't it true though that the 24 hours on either side of a full moon day, you can get the same effects?
Absolutely. There's always a peak time when it's absolutely 100% full, but within 3 days, you're looking at a vibrational energy of fullness, most likely. Just as in the new moon, within 3 days, you're looking at a vibrational energy of it being this non-existent, but this little sliver to not really there. So yeah, but you can do, if you're going to do any type of moon ceremony or any type of intentional working with your energy around the moon, you definitely want to work with it within that window of 3 days. That's usually the most prime and optimum.
Well, let me see, about 11 o'clock tonight, I'll make sure I'm under a pillow.
There you go.
A pillow going to be on your face.
Processing your Gemini energy. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Now, I don't have any planets in Gemini. But my ascendant's Gemini. But I know where the Gemini moon is going to hit in my 12th house. So house placements are actually more important sometimes than anything else to understand where those zodiac signs hit in your house placements. Because now that Gemini full moon is going to activate my 12th house, which is what I believe. So I'll be more intuitive about what I think, Gemini energy, and what I believe in the 12th house. So it's putting the pieces together just to understand how it affects people. But yeah, some people are more sensitive, and some people, emergency rooms are usually really busy during full moons. Nurses and doctors tell me this all the time. I mean, they see it drastically. People, when we're driving around, they're more sensitive. They're usually a little bit more reactive. So I always am a little bit more cautious when I'm driving with full moon energy. But again, it's not to worry about those things, but just to be aware that we are influenced by celestial bodies of energy in the universe. universe and in our solar system specifically that really have an impact on our life and on energy dynamics that we process through.
You're right about the driving part.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I mean, I'm out, you know, all day, and it's crazy. I mean, I'm serious. How can people be so stupid to drive and not look? Now I know they text because I saw that too, and I saw a guy in a truck do that one time. Here's the guy. They're texting, looking out the right-hand side of the car. They're like this. Here's the traffic out here.
God.
It's like that.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I took my foot off the gas, put my two hands on the horn, and went, ah! All of a sudden,
Let me show you.
I figure if he's going to go somewhere, I'm not going to be in the way. You know, it's like, hey,
Help him out.
but it's crazy though. But that's going on all over the place. And but part of the thing, but I don't know about you, Jamie, because you can more or less get into people's minds past the outside layer of a person. But with the cards, on the other hand, you can tell when somebody's out there. You know, it's like one of these kind of things, and or they want something or they need something. It's like not them.
Yeah.
You know, not in their thing because they saw it. Oh, gee whiz, I got this text the other day, and hey, look, you know, I need it. This is what, yeah, $1 million. I'm going to get it tomorrow. I've heard it. Trust me. I mean, it's people. I interact with people all day, and it's like, if you heard what I heard, forget about it. You guys, you think you're laughing now? Oh man, all these on the floor, especially the older people. I mean, like, look, I'm not young. I'm way over that cliff, but way over that cliff. But you know, it's like people that are around my age or maybe a little older. Some of them are just, I mean, there must be something, the pineal gland or whatever must be calcium.
Calcified, yeah.
Calcified, or whatever. I mean, it's like they're still back at the ABCs.
But the good thing is everyone has the ability. Everyone, if you got a soul, you're a psychic medium. Truly, it's just what do you want to connect with and what level do you want to take it to? And it's that kind of connection. You know, as we're talking about the moon and the water and stuff, that also brings to my mind the awareness of, I always talk about Dr. Masaru Emoto, who did Hidden Messages in Water. And he thought and found scientifically that thoughts affect the molecular structure of water. It holds thought patterns, thought within it. And the challenging thoughts sent to the water were gross and murky. The good thoughts were loving and light. To me, not only is that an amplified energy of your own consciousness, but what about the moon that might activate and amplify all of that energy already within? How would that work?
Well, it's interesting because the moon rules the tides of the oceans and women's menstrual cycles. So you have like
Same thing.
You have like these movements of tide energy, like tidal energy flows that come and go, so to speak. You know, you could use it for both. And the moon itself also rules the subconscious. So when you're talking about water and the subconscious, you're talking about water that's hidden from the conscious mind, which is our fears. It's things that are hidden that we're not aware of about ourselves. The part of the I am presence that hasn't come to the surface yet. And so sometimes the moon pulls that stuff a little bit tighter and a little bit stronger up to the surface of consciousness so that we can explore more of the subconscious, what's hidden. And the moon also has this beautiful expansion into our psychic senses and intuition. So having a moon in Gemini, we might actually understand our psychic impressions more or think into them in new ways. So it's very fascinating because you have all of this energy around consciousness, whether it's water, whether it's the moon, whether it's different planetary energies. Mm-hmm. And all it's doing is waking us up to who we are, waking us up to our human potential, waking us up to the things that have been mysteries to us or hidden to us. And once they're awake, we can't deny it. It's like, I can't deny what I've seen or what I've heard or what I've felt. Now, if people aren't aware of their feelings during a full moon, they're going to become more sensitive. That's why people are moody and they react. And then you see more accidents and these, like, because they're reacting from this subconscious amplification. Think of the moon as amplifying what the subconscious is doing. So when you understand the subconscious, which the moon rules, you're going to be digging into your fears. You're going to be digging into the hidden places within yourself. It's an opportunity of self-discovery yet again. And the universe is fantastic how it creates itself and how it works with humanity, because it's just like, oh, let's make this celestial body of energy, this moon, become full, and then just push against the consciousness a little bit, like open you up a little bit more. Every month you have an opportunity to become more psychic, to become more intuitive, to learn more about yourself, to feel into the places. And like every psychic reading, you're not thinking, you're feeling. You're feeling.
Yep.
Now, a moon in Gemini, you're going to be like, I think I feel, I'm not sure what's happening. So yes, it's not
like, oh my God.
Right.
Exactly.
And moon in Gemini, you might become more talkative because it's amplifying, the intuitive communication. So you can maybe make sense of what you're feeling and speak about it more as well.
See, that's what I'm saying is what if you could consciously introduce those thought patterns into the cellular structure of humans, and then with the amplification of that from the moon, it can really intensify it.
What if that's what the moon was created for?
Uh-huh.
Oh, created. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I vote on her. Yep.
Just kind of putting it out there. I love to think of the moon as a celestial body of energy because I study astrology, yet we never see it rotate like every other planetary energy, or influential energy. We never see the dark side of the moon. And then, of course, I'm a firm believer that there's, other life forms on the moon or on the other side or inside of the moon or wherever it is.
See, that's what I said on the show. Inside the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hollow.
Yeah, I think I said it on one of the shows that I was with you guys now one time, and that the guys dropped something on the ground, and something went like echoed.
Yep.
Like no, if I go outside and I drop something on the floor outside here on the Earth, nothing makes anything but the thing hitting where it hits.
Yep.
There's not an after sound.
Now, there are theories that alien species put the moon there and orbited the Earth to have an influence on the Earth of some kind, which we wouldn't know what that is consciously unless you were to remote view that or receive your own information around that. And it's also a theory that women didn't even have menstrual cycles, that mammals on this planet did not have to go through a bleeding phase and all of the things that we go through. And so it's interesting, the theories that are out there, because as a woman, I mean, I love that time. Not that I'm past that time in my own life, but I love the time when I bled, and I love the time when I went through a cycle, because I could feel the energy shift and the energy change within my body. And men have cycles too. They just don't relate it to what we relate it to. And it always made me wonder how much influence the moon really had on how humanity evolved on a certain level, and why. And those are questions that we just kind of throw out there, and we wait to receive the answers for when we're ready.
You're talking some real quantum stuff out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. But they found there was a picture that I was looking at, and I showed Diane the thing, and that she goes, "Huh?" it was a picture of this animal, this thing, 300 million years old. Mm-hmm. It was crushed in a couple, between some rocks, and they had moved these rocks and everything, and the one fell off, of course, and then there was the head of this thing in there, of course, smushed, but it was still there. And they tested the material and everything else. It was 300 million years old. And I'm saying, oh, wait a minute, 300 million. Okay, so where am I going to be in, say, 1.5 million? I mean, seriously, people don't get it. I mean, like, we have a life, all right? Now, life is short, very short. There were people years and years ago that lived 200 years
or more.
Yep. And now We don't. And it's only because of the way we treat ourselves and because of what we eat and because of where we live. I mean, things have changed. Climate.
And what we believe. And what we believe. Because we're still discovering our human potential. We're really still discovering, whoa, it could be different. Now, if you believe that life is short and that you're going to die in 100 years or less, then I do believe the power of thought has a huge influence of how we experience this in our bodies, as well as our minds and our hearts and our souls.
I wish I had a lot of people on the phone because, I mean, or even on the screen and things. I'd love to ask a bunch of people, and I probably will tomorrow just because it's in my head. But just ask a bunch of people, where do you think you're going when you die?
I just for me, because that brings up a point, I always say I never, ever talk to the dead. There are none. And I always say how we perceive death, to me, in a human concept, is you die in this dimension and then you go to the other side after this. And my thing is one, everything's spiritual, and two, life is relative. I always say we are extraterrestrials to everyone else. And aren't we right now living on the other side of where we come from before here? Doesn't that mean we must have died? Or could it just be a shift in consciousness and vibrational patterns of energy? Or something like that.
There was a YouTube that someone sent me. I've talked on another show and then about where I was when I passed over briefly.
And
you see like the green thing and the green grass and everything. It's really, really nice, and the weather and the whole thing. I mean, it's like you're just somewhere else, and
it looked physical. Yes, exactly.
It is like unbelievable. Well, this guy is on the video telling his story, and they have pictures on it. It's a produced video about crossing over, and the pictures that the guy was describing that they showed are real close to what I saw. I mean, real close. And he was describing the thing, the trees, the whole 9 yards. And I was like, oh my God. It's like, you have no idea. I mean, people are coming back with the same story. And the story that I said, let me see, 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden people are going, didn't you say that?
See, and you're bringing up a very interesting point. And to me, I always say that that's exactly the case, is the psychic experiences are individualized. It's how they perceive it, process it, and integrate it. The spiritual experiences, pretty much everyone says the same thing. It's all love. It's a great place. It's a good energy. And right, that's a unification of consciousness. It just sometimes takes us to get out of our own way to feel that energy that's always been there, and to realize that we are eternal beings and that we're always complete. We are always complete, because I always share the fact that when I unify with the oneness, my soul is full. And Chi, my master guide, let me know that completeness of the soul is on a quantum level, because on average, people tend to think of our human choices as one thing, and then you got to try to get all these other decisions if you can fit it in. And Chi, my master guide, let me know the fact that in the quantum physics, in the quantum realm, all potentials and outcomes are happening. You are already all those potentials and outcomes, or they wouldn't be happening for you. Mm-hmm. So he let me know the fact that when I feel so free and amazing, that's the point. It's a unification of consciousness. My soul is complete every moment. We're just adding on to that.
The funny part about that is, I think I said this in one of the shows. When you are in that spot, in that place, wherever it is, I mean, I didn't see any signs. It didn't say,
this way.
Some people probably get the sign that says "keep out," or don't step on the grass or something.
Yeah.
But I'm serious though. The feeling of, and I've said this to people I've talked to in groups before. Nobody knows what love really is. You don't. It's either a physical or a physical mental feeling, but it's a very belonging feeling. Like you belong there, you belong with a person, you belong in a place, whatever. It's like accepted. A homey thing, On the other side, love knocks you down. You have it is. I can't even begin to describe what it feels like. It's like I don't know. Well, this is internet radio. Say I got laid 100 times. Maybe you'd be close.
Okay.
But I'm talking in 24 hours.
Right. That's impressive. Okay.
But
They have competitions, you know.
it's like that feeling of like but it's like giant
And you just have to be you. That's it. You just allow it. It's just there. Exactly.
And there's
Yes.
where the I am comes in. That's when when you don't think it anymore, you feel it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And funny, but when I have my unification, I don't have to be anything different. And it's just I am.
Mhm.
And it's everything. I'm like, God, when I have that and there is no separation, truly everything is interconnected, as crazy as it is. And to have that experience and see how many people have their own individual perspectives, of course, because that's how it is, but how many may not even realize that that love and empowerment is already within us. There's that there scientist guy named Albert Einstein.
Yeah, that little guy, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of discovered that love is a real life force energy from which all life experience flows from, which is exactly love is everything. I always say never mistake love and compassion for weakness. It is the complete opposite. And people are.
I was going to say, you're talking about the energy, right? There was a thing that we did in college, in science, and it was just like I don't know, like a screen on a laptop or a tablet. All right, stick your hand on it, and then you either talk about something, read about somebody you know, or whatever else, and you can actually see the energy come out from your fingers.
Ooh.
Your energy all around the energy. You'd see like this orange or yellow or white.
Right.
Kind of white is like the high powered one.
Right.
And it was like really, really weird. Like you say, like think of a girlfriend, think of this, think of that, whatever. And it would react. The energy in your body would actually come out on the screen. It was like an X-ray kind of thing, only backwards.
Very cool.
Almost like a biomagnetic type of feedback.
Yeah, exactly. And this is when nobody even knew what it was. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was that long ago, gosh.
That they're sharing now, finally.
I'm serious. But things like that, we react to everything. I mean, love is something that it's like high test gas in a car. That's love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you don't love, you're on regular. Sorry, dude.
And how much power do you want with that?
Oh, I mean, I've been on high test since I was born, I think.
Beautiful.
My mother used to give me that all the time. She says, why do you, she used to go, why do you like that guy? There was a guy in my class in school. It was bad. He was really, really bad, and, we used to, he was a block and a half away from me in the thing. And I would invite him to come play ball or whatever. He was still an idiot.
But you're nice.
but to me, that was him. That was his itch, in life. That's what he was going to be like. But other than that, I mean, I was the nicest guy to him and he was the nicest guy to me. That was just the way it was. And our whole life, everybody that's walking out right now, everybody that's walking anywhere, take all for the whatever 7 or 8 billion trillion whatever people there are on this planet. Take all those people, and every single one of those people thought like I just talked. All right? Each person is their own universe. Own universe. This is them. So when you say I am means I am all.
Oh, yes,
Now, if
exactly.
you believe that way, that energy attracts other energy. Maybe not the same energy, but it's still energy. And after a while, remember how they said about COVID-19, the herd effect? Enough people that catch COVID.
Oh, right. Yep.
Okay.
All right, that thing. The same thing applies to the energy.
Amplification.
If you have people that have the ability of amplification of their own energy, they will attract or affect other things and people that are around them. Like me with the trees in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Was out walking the dog. The leaves went whoop. It's just,
Yeah.
oh.
And
And
they start talking to you.
well, I didn't exactly hear what they were saying, but I got the idea when there was no wind, but you hear the leaves move.
Oh, I'm walking out in the desert and I've got rocks talking to me. Funny but true, because I'm very respectful of the area, but there was a very cool looking rock that I saw on the ground as we were walking by, and I picked it up and I'm like, okay, I took a step and then I went back and then I was setting it there and it was like, over here, this way. I'm like, Jesus. Like, that stuff's real.
Get it
Talking
right,
to
Jamie.
you. God. But it was a feeling impulse of communication. It was literally like words in my mind, but I could feel the energy of the placement to go put it here, not there. Adjust the angle. That's where it needs to stay. And I did it. So I was like, okay. But sometimes it's like, all right, let me think my own thoughts kind of thing. So
And then,
you always
and then with the Grand Canyon, all the stuff they're finding now on the bottom of it.
such as like what?
Well, like the river that goes through there.
Okay.
Okay, down the bottom of that river net, they're finding rocks and all kinds of things that are millions of years old that are down in that crevice of the whole. I
What
don't.
if we've been here for millions and millions and millions of years?
We were. See, that's just it. They don't get it. The let's see, the ones that they consider to be the first humanoid type people. All right, they were just an upgrade. There was something before it,
A few of them.
a lot behind it, but some little helpers somewhere from somewhere were doing the upgrades as they were going. And of course, the DNA that we have now didn't all come from this planet. And everybody's too afraid to say, "Oh, well, I'm part alien." They'll
Well,
probably,
y'all are.
Yeah.
they'll probably go to Washington, though, and tell them that they're part alien, so they can get another grant for something. So
Yeah, when are they going to start giving money to aliens on this planet?
Yeah.
the aliens are here already. So what's the big?
Oh,
deal?
absolutely.
What if there's a potential that moon was created and that there are ET bases on there? And what if there's actually land underneath this? What if it's a world within a world for planet Earth?
Well, that's already been proven. There's already caverns and everything else way down.
Yeah.
Caverns,
Yeah,
yeah.
it goes beyond that. It's like, no, that's nice. These are beings. These are the buildings. There are things in the earth. And there is water. There's ocean aspects to this. It's freaking amazing.
And in almost every mythology, like pantheon, you have someone guarding the underworlds, and it was an actual place where you could traverse. And of course, we look at it and we're like, okay, that must be the unconscious, or the underworld is your subconscious. But if it's tried and true in so many different cultures across the world, and without even speaking to each other, they're all guarding caverns to the underworld, or passages to the underworld, or the other world, depending on what myth you're looking at. There's got to be something to it, right? There has to be something to that.
Did you ever see the movie Journey to the Center of the Earth?
No. Possibly many years ago.
Yeah, but then there was also a reboot.
Okay, I need to see that one. I haven't seen
there was another one. That's a few years ago too. The original one with Pat Boone in it. See, now you know.
Yeah.
He was the one who spit out the volcano.
Volcano, yep.
Anyway, that whole movie was based on what was written by whoever the writer was. That was based on what somebody had said that came from notes that were years old, found about this idea. It was an idea that there was a Middle Earth somewhere.
There is.
All the way through all those hands, it became Journey to the Center of the Earth. Now, the original movie, not the reboot, but the original, was more close to the notes than the new one. The new one was a digital marvel, things and whatever. But there really are, not like you and I look to each other, but people that are way different than us.
Oh, yeah.
At the earth.
Yep.
And there is water, like he said, like in the movie that we're just talking about. There was an ocean.
Yeah.
It
is.
And the inside was luminous.
Yeah, it's like, how the frick is that possible? Yeah,
right.
It is.
Inside sun.
Yep.
Well, and they have luminous creatures in the sea, so why not? Right?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, that's good. Beautiful.
I mean,
sounds appropriate too.
Maybe there's like some kind of like source of energy from the natural like algae or moss or creatures or something that give glows. They have that in the ocean already, so that would be fun. Can't wait to find out.
Yeah, there could be a potential that some of the beings that have been here for quite some time may have influenced some of the pyramids that were built and the precision of the placement of them, and that kind of stuff.
Well,
just the little subtleties.
The pyramid, it was just found at it's either the South or the North Pole or whatever, one of those poles. They just found another pyramid.
Oh, there are pyramids all around this world, and many underneath the water.
But where was the North and the South Pole when it was built?
Not there.
That means
shifting on its axis.
Shifting on the axis. Every 26,000 years, the Earth goes hiccup.
Yeah, that means that the Earth that was this way is now that way.
Yeah, yeah.
It just turned. And when it turned, and that's what, now is the two poles. And everybody keeps saying that the poles are going to shift.
They are.
Well, and they've been saying that, gosh, ever since I could think I read, the book Pole Shifts. But, and there's so many prophecies too around that. That's it's always been fascinating.
Oh, North changed. North is in, northern Russia, way up in northern Russia is the true North Pole. Not the one that's there. They're miles away from each other.
Yeah, because it shifted already.
It did tilt. It did tilt.
Yeah, I was, told if the Earth shifts 7 to 18 degrees, or more, really, really quickly on its axis, those polar caps melt, tidal waves, you name it, everything shifts. And of course, we have the Ice Age that we look back to. We have all these different events that we can look at geologically to say, yeah, the Earth went through a major, I call it a hiccup, but a major upheaval, And yeah, that's just part of scourging and releasing and, like shifting and changing and
changing planet.
A changing planet. And why not? She's a celestial body of energy. She's breathing. She has a heartbeat like you and I. She's absolutely alive. Why can't she hiccup once in a while? Right? Let her clear her throat.
One of them sticks to the other, but when you kind of think about it, okay, what we're hearing right now, and see, like you just laughed, Annette. That's what I do all day. Every time I heard it here on the radio, climate change, I'm dying. I'm usually on the floor, laughing, because let's face it, the Earth is the Earth. It is what it is. It's not a solid rock. It isn't. Everybody knows that. But do they think about it? No. It's the dollar, not the Earth. That's what counts. The dollar, not the Earth. The Earth is the entity or the new, how would you say it? It's a live celestial being.
Yes.
It's not just a round thing with blue spots on it.
It's consciousness.
It's more than that, way more than that. And so are the other planets. Take the sun, for instance. That breeds, for crying out loud. And who knows how long it's still going to be around? Let's face it.
That's something that I'm questioning, because as I've shared before, the vision that I was shown, and over the past few years, a lot of information and things that nothing at the moment seems to be going beyond 2029. And as I've shared the fact that a number of years ago, I was laying here in the living room and mindsight, it just dropped into my mind, but extremely clear. And all I could see was the shape of a mountain. So whatever it was didn't obliterate the mountains, but everything else was burnt. It was ash, nothing at all. And up above that scene that I was shown in very clear numbers, 2029. And I'm like, what the flagnog?
And it has nothing to do with cars,
Nope.
oil,
Nope.
anything. Nothing. I
Nope.
keep saying this, and you know, people think I'm crazy. I keep saying there is nothing wrong with us. The other planets that are around us and the other things that we can't do a damn thing about are the things that are going to change climate, gravity, heat, cold. All those things are going to change by other things, not us. We are just sitting here waiting to die. In a sense.
Right. We're passengers.
Yeah, that's
Taking
about
a
it.
ride.
Besides it. Every single thing, like if you look at the other planets around us, how many that are close do you see people living on? But there were.
That I'm aware of. Venus, Mars,
Right,
Saturn.
right.
You know, the crazy till it's validated to go watch.
I'm
Watch.
serious. I'm serious. They were all those other planets. They got these pock marks all over them, like the moon. You know, it's got these little craters and stuff. How come it hit them and not us? Well, okay, so we got an atmosphere that, of course, protects us from a lot of stuff that comes down. It's got to be pretty big to come down. But let's face it, if you threw something down at us that was the size of, say, a bus, all right, by the time it hit the ground, it would be a Volkswagen. But at that speed, it would affect everything within 5,000 miles of the impact.
Wow.
So it would knock down just by the shock that moves air. You know, like if you like that, and something moves when you blow at it. Same thing as this, only 100 million times worse.
Wow.
So you're talking about a word of what's burnt. It may not be burnt. It may just be flat.
Well, that's the interesting thing. I do remote viewing. It's taking your mind sight, different locations and stuff. So I targeted that area that I was shown and I adjusted my viewpoint of awareness. And what I saw was it looked like there were two mountain areas, so kind of like this. And in between was an ocean area. It was dry. It was bone. There was no water at all. At all. So I don't still at the moment know if it's a whole planetary aspect or if it's just a localized. But for that to be there, because I wanted to make sure if I could get any other insight than just everything's freaking burnt. But whatever it is, apparently didn't obliterate the mountains because there were still shapes there. However, everything else was just ash. There was literally nothing standing, all ash, black soot.
Let this go through your head. How much water are we pumping out of aquifers under all our countries? Okay, so you pump that water for a couple thousand years or 100 years, and then or whatever you're doing it, and there's space. There's space left. You know what I mean? Like extra space. Mm-hmm. What happens if a really, really good earthquake? I mean, we're talking a real shaker, hits and opens up a crack that happens to go into the vein of where the aquifers are. That would mean that the water would drain into the earth. So there would be water on top of the earth. It would be in the earth. But the salt content of that water would make it so that you couldn't drink the water coming out of the earth. It would just obliterate fresh water.
Interesting.
I mean, that's another thing that nobody thinks about this stuff. I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but you know, I probably am anyway. But the thing is, it's all these things they keep saying all day, and I keep hearing it on the radio all day. Maybe you guys don't listen to it as much as I do. But I mean, like I said, you guys know, I'm up at 3:00 in the morning and I go through everything. Anything that's out there that's readable, I read it. Excellent. And you have to, and then I form my own opinion. I don't take what everybody says because half of them are, I don't know, they must be high when they do things. But when you really, really think about it, it's you're giving trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars away, and there's no proof that what you're doing is going to change anything. Anything. Like I was on the show last night, and they were talking about the Indians and the thing. They're afraid of the bad air and the whole 9 yards. And I said to them, don't you guys even know how you get the bad air? I said, it's not us. I said, America is probably the least, or one of the least, pollution countries in the world. We've gone through so many changes, like we have catalyst, converters on our cars that afterburn and everything else. Now they're going into hydrogen cars and things. Now hydrogen cars, what are they going to spew out? Steam. That's what comes out the exhaust pipe. So we have all these things. We are so clean, it's ridiculous. But then you take a country like China, or any of the Asia or Indian, or the western part of Russia. They're pumping, man. They got the coal smoke coming out in the whole 9 yards. And the person that I was with turns around and he goes to me, he goes, but Bob, he says, so they're dirty. I said, no, listen to me. Stuff goes up, right? He says, yeah. I said, Earth turns, right? East to west. Whoop, goes that way. Okay. So it goes up, but it's got to come down. So I said, we turn, it comes down. So all of a sudden we're dirty. But it's not our dirt. It's somebody else's dirt. But we're claiming that it's climate change. No, it's not climate change. It's some stupid idiot not trying to mirror what other countries are doing. It has nothing to do with pumping oil or anything else, like the Hopis and the uranium in the water. That was our fault. The federal government said, hey, domain, whatever, and I'm going to take over this piece of land. I'm going to dig up all this uranium. And they did. But they didn't seal it. They left it. And that's why everything got screwed up. That was our fault. But come on. Ice melting, if you tilt a couple of degrees, you're going to get a little warmer. When you tilt that a couple of
change it, right?
It'll melt anyway. Did we do that? No. The Earth did that. What are you going to blame the Earth? How do you pay off the Earth? You knock on the door. Hey, Gaia. Hey.
Hey, how are you walking? Hello, McFly.
How much you want? I'll fix it for you. Don't worry.
See, it's all beautiful. It's great, but the planet heals itself in a beautiful way.
Yes. And it will also purge itself.
In a beautiful way.
Yep.
So you want to see that other side, man, just hang around a little longer.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny, but as we're moving along, that they might be finding that there are beings that do live in the oceans.
Oh, yeah.
Such as the mer people and, some other beings in that way. When you see them firsthand, you'll have no choice but to go, duh, that was freaking weird.
Did you say mama?
It was interesting. I met 3 of them, and their introduction, because they were all standing in front of me, they're all right next to each other, and they started doing this as, I don't know why they were doing it.
Really?
But they were doing like that. 3, and I'm like, what the frig is that? And they had human looking bodies, but they had like gills in the neck area here. Yep. And just being there, I was like, dang, that was freaking, I don't know what this move was for all 3 to do, but for whatever reason, all 3 of them did the exact
Maybe they were waving
move.
with their heads.
Yeah, maybe hey.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, seriously.
Again, you're only a nut job till it's validated. Go, well, I guess we'll see. And they might realize that humans have been here a lot longer than what they thought.
There's nothing to it, but not this show, because we're running long already. But when you do, just look at this whole thing and that with Elon Musk and his chip for the brain. Improves the eyesight.
Sure it does, and it can heal a lot of things.
Yeah, it can also
presentation.
Yeah,
it'll shut your system down.
But it can also run your computer without you touching the key.
isn't it? And they could just read you the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it goes
So-
more and more. Yeah.
I would think that something like that planted in your brain that would be able to enable someone somewhere
It will.
hack and
It
turn.
will. It will.
Yeah, you can hack anything if you know how.
Yep.
They can already do the things that people put on hearts.
Yeah.
They can already do those.
Wow. Watch. Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
You got to just live life, man. Enjoy it while we're here, baby. That's the
will.
point. It's just a breath away, man.
All right, you guys.
Always good, Bobby.
It's been, you know what? I tell you something. If somebody actually listens to these and now somebody's on the phone,
We'll see if we can catch them next time. That would be awesome.
yeah, they're coming in at the very, very end. So,
Cool.
Zipper on the phone, Zipper on 625. Annette, come back.
Yes, please. Thank
Yes.
you for tuning in, too. That's awesome. Always great, Bobby.
Oh, we are so out of that. Hey, listen, you guys, you are the best. And you know what? If you want to get in touch with these two, this is how you do it. Just put this in. JamieClark.net. It's a www address. www.jamieclark.net. N-E-T. Get in there. You'll find everything out. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, God bless you all from my heart. Bob Charles.